Hello and welcome back. GovDoc News. No opinions, just facts and summaries of government documents. You take it from there. We are back again with the Supreme Court order from October 8th, 2025 in the case Ham v. Sockwell. Long one here. Long one, so buckle up. All right. We have an order from the Supreme Court denying a request for a stay in this case. So let's take a look at the case and see what we're dealing with. This is a federal habeas corpus case, meaning it is a case where someone is in custody and asks a court to review whether their detention is lawful or not. So, to the actual case. On March 10th, 1988, Isaiah Harris, a Montgomery County, Alabama deputy sheriff, was shot in the head while driving to work with no eyewitnesses viewing the crime. Prosecutors said it was a murder for hire plot where Sockwell, then 25 years old, and another man, Alex Hood, were accused of being hired by Louise Harris, Isaiah's wife, and her lover, Lorenzo McCarter, to kill Isaiah. The motive, according to prosecutors, was to cover up the affair and collect insurance money from Isaiah's policy. Sockwell and Hood were allegedly paid $100 each for the job, and Sockwell initially confessed on videotape, but later claimed the confession was coerced and that Hood was the actual triggerman. The original trial was in Montgomery County Circuit Court in 1990. Some important information about this original trial. Prosecutors used peremptory strikes, a way to dismiss potential jurors without explaining reasonings as to why, to remove several black people from the jury pool, raising questions about racial discrimination. The jury convicted Sockwell of capital murder and voted 7-5 for life in prison without parole. However, the trial judge overruled the jury and sentenced Sockwell to death, in a process that is now banned in Alabama since 2017, but obviously this took place before that ban. Also an important note is that court filings note that Sockwell has a low IQ, which his lawyers argue should disqualify him from the death penalty under U.S. Supreme Court rules set forth in 2002 in the case Atkins v. Virginia, basically banning executing people with intellectual disabilities. So, since his original trial and conviction, Sockwell has attempted to appeal multiple times. The Alabama Court of Criminal Appeals affirmed the conviction and death sentence in 1992. The Alabama Supreme Court also affirmed in 1995. The U.S. Supreme Court denied a petition for certiorari in 1995. And the U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Alabama denied relief in the case as recently as 2023. Then, on June 30th, 2025, the 11th Circuit Federal Appeals Court reversed the 2023 District Court's ruling. The 11th Circuit found the prosecutor's strikes of black jurors violated the 14th Amendment by discriminating based on race, pointing to an apparent history that the prosecutor, Ham in Ham v. Sockwell, had of removing black jurors disproportionately. As a result, Sockwell is eligible for a new trial after 35 years on death row, with the court ordering the district court to use a writ of habeas corpus, freeing Sockwell from his current sentence unless Alabama retries him. In response to this decision, the Alabama Attorney General's office, representing Commissioner John Q. Ham of the Alabama Department of Corrections, asked the Supreme Court to block the 11th Circuit's ruling. And this is where we get to the actions of the present. The Supreme Court has denied Alabama's stay application. However, it is without prejudice, meaning that Alabama can reapply for a stay if a new trial becomes imminent, basically about to start. So, as things stand right now, the 11th Circuit's decision is in place. Alabama can retry Sockwell, appeal further to the Supreme Court, or negotiate a plea with Sockwell for, say, life in prison as opposed to the death penalty. But no execution date is set, and a new trial is not yet scheduled. Sockwell will remain on death row pending a full resolution to this issue. All right, long one, but important. Kaimo, keep your mind open, do your own research, form your own opinion. See you next time.